Chaos. My apologies. Apologize for the audio. Audio seems to always be the problem that we always have the biggest problems with. I'm just gonna sit around waiting for people to show up, and then they can tell me if the audio is bad. We're gonna have to cancel until I can get a replacement. Maybe it's short-circuited or something. The sound is okay. I had to unplug everything. The computer had re-upped. It had redone its whatever it does at night, and then it had knocked me off. So that might have been part of the problem. I think because the computer had done a reboot and I hadn't re-upped, and it somehow affected the sound. My apologies. There's so many little things, you know, and in the middle of that, I got to remember to put on the lipstick, right? So, yeah, there's always something. You're going to be a scare actor? That sounds like a lot of fun. Happy Halloween to you. So yeah, so let's go around and say hi to everybody, and then we'll do some remote views. We'll do the Empath prayer, then we'll do some blitzes. Does that work for you guys? Yeah, I got to do the sound. I got to be the producer. I've got to be delightful, which, as you know, comes very easy for me. No. Yeah. So, but it's fun, you know. I love the world, the world that you and I are in now, because everybody gets to be a producer, even people that don't know like me, who don't know anything about film or. And that's what's great about it. Hi, Boon Dragon. Good to see you. Hi, Melissa Miller. Anyway, so I was finishing by saying that our charity today is with United Nations Hunger Relief Program, which is all over the world. And because of the war in Ukraine, more important now than ever. Yeah, and we were mentioning that Terry Soma, if you wanted to hire a teacher to certify and do all of that, she's your girl. Okay, so today's Sunday brunch. One of the things we want to do now that we've said hi to everybody is talk about some remote views. Does that work for you? Oh, I don't know what I did with it. I put it somewhere. Yes. There is a... This is Dr. Lena Rodriguez and Sienna Rose. They developed this tarot deck. It's the One World Tarot deck, excuse me. It's a beautiful deck, and they are doing, I think they're doing community reads using the deck on the 3rd, but unfortunately I will be in Lisbon. I'm flying out on the 3rd. I'll, excuse me, spending a couple weeks in Lisbon or in Portugal and Morocco for 5 days in Morocco, something like that. Anyway. Yeah, so then I'll come back and either do Japan or Thailand. I haven't decided. Aren't these amazing? You know, this guy here looks like Hogwarts. Hogarts? Does it look like Hogarth? Everybody has romantic thoughts about Hogarth. Okay. And he gave me a love reading too. He told me I was going to find somebody. He said I would find somebody who was an alien, somebody who was just like really weird. And I thought, perfect. I have to find somebody who's as weird as Whimsy, right? Anyway, so today with the remote views, there's a lot going on, and people have a lot of questions about some of what's going on with the remote views. People are, what is causing me to, my dear. So, one of the ones I want to talk about is a remote view I did a couple of days ago. And this was a remote view on the current situation in Russia. The problems with Russia right now, because they've called up 300,000 people to go to the war. People are talking about the fact that the war could drag on much longer in Ukraine. We talked in previous remote views about, excuse me, how how this would most likely play out. We talked about the fact that they were trying to delay until NATO was in position. We talked about the fact that Sweden and Finland would most likely become part of NATO. We talked about the fact that when ground troops were able to push out the Russians, that they would probably receive protection from the air from Sweden and Finland if they were threatened with nuclear disaster, either by bombing Zaporizhia or by actually using a nuclear weapon. So now we are there. The ground troops have come in. Sweden is ready to go in if necessary. Britain is ready to go in if necessary. And Putin is threatening nuclear war. So we're in a very scary situation. Now, the nuclear war that they've tested, the nuclear warhead, they did drop the bomb. I think it was in the 50s or 60s. It was 10 times stronger than Hiroshima. So you can imagine what that blast, how terrifying that blast must have been when it came in. There's actual film footage on CNN 18 documentary on how they tested their bombs. So there's this back and forth now between Putin threatening to use the bomb and the West saying, you'd better not use the bomb. Needless to say, we're in a really delicate situation. We also talked about the fact that Zaporizhia is the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. At one time, approximately 500 Russian soldiers were there. We have done some classic CRV just to scan the grid, just looking for bodies. I mean, warm bodies to a remote viewer feel a specific way. So when we go into Zaporizhia, we were seeing the numbers of Russians declining rapidly as they flee the area, but it's still very delicate. So when I did a remote 2 days ago on Putin, what it looks like is that there are four generals that up to this point have been fairly loyal to Putin. They're advisors, there's specifically four. And those four generals have been communicating with people in the business world, oligarchs and business people in the business world that have spent the last 20, 30 years building economic infrastructure inside Moscow, economic infrastructure between Russia and the West. And they've made billions. They've built empires, Russian empires, bringing in Western industry, importing, exporting. So McDonald's has been shut down. Big Mac has been shut down. The Golden Arches are gone. Burger King is gone. I don't know if Subway's open. I don't know. I think Home Depot has been shut down. IKEA has been shut down. So if you are the billionaire who built all of this and it took you 17, 18, 19, 20, 30 years, you're probably in a state of complete horror. And that is exactly how I felt as the oligarch who had been responsible, the billionaires, for building this infrastructure. And what is so horrifying for me as the billionaire, and this is why we say in these remotes, why the billionaires and trillionaires say, we're going to save the world. The billionaires and trillionaires are going to save the world because we are the only ones that can shake sense into the crazy. It's a complete insanity. So what the billionaires are saying, what the people who brought this infrastructure into Russia are saying in the remote is they are saying to the generals, he needs to go now. Not a week from now. Every day you delay taking Putin out is destroying this infrastructure. But it's more embarrassing for me as an oligarch because I have genuine friendships that I've established over the years with the West. We've made a lot of money. We have friends. We've had historically a very positive relationship with the United States, the businessman who's bringing American business into Russia. So, do you sit back and just watch everything burn in a few months? Billions lost, intellectuals fleeing to Georgia? Or do you finally say, this has to end now? We look People that I've had established friendships with don't wanna have anything to do with me or any business in Russia because we look evil and horrible, and quite frankly, I can't argue with them. So what they basically said in the remote, this is what the billionaires in Russia and the importers are saying, some of whom might be Russian American, etc. They said Putin is costing people a lot of money. They're talking to 4 generals who have mixed loyalties. Right now, we are all committing economic suicide. It's having a global impact. He needs to be removed now. We're not going to kill him, but we're going to remove him. Whether or not the international community wants to try him for war crimes, or whether or not we hold him and not hand him over to the international community for war crimes, we're not willing to do that at this time, and we're not willing to kill him at this time, but we are willing to force him to step down and to temporarily establish a military coup almost with these 4 generals that will come in, take him, remove him peacefully, don't kill him. They want to protect him from the West from a trial, but they want desperately to stabilize this area because according to what the billionaires are saying, he has devastated them for decades to come and completely destroyed. They worked really hard to make Moscow look cool in the 90s and 2000. It's cool, it's hip, come have a honeymoon in Moscow. And people were doing that. We worked really hard to build that. And now he's destroyed 30 years worth of work and infrastructure. That's what it feels like to be that person. So what are you going to do? He's got to go now. I'm not going to sit back and let my McDonald's merger go up in smoke over this wingnut. So that's how it feels. So I don't know if other remote viewers got the same hit, but this is the dynamic energy. But for me, put yourself in the shoes. Imagine you're a billionaire. Meditate. Use the Tibetan technique. Just meditate, look at a picture of a billionaire, and imagine that you're sitting in their shoes and looking out at the world from their perspective while all these American restaurants that you brought in, TJ Friday, blah, 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 it's all going down. Billions and trillions flush down the toilet. Are you going to just sit? You're screaming hysterically. Everybody's screaming. The economy is going down. 35% of the military is down too. So I really encourage people to go in from the oligarchs' perspective and the wealthy, not all of whom were anti-US because they were making money on trade. So that was the first remote. So on that note, I think that, and now he's threatening nuclear war. They think he's crazy. The oligarchs, the people that built this functional society, they're saying billionaires and trillionaires build functional societies. They put the money and the juice in. And it's going to prevent war because we have a vested interest in peace. So that's good. This is basically what the oligarchs were saying, what the people were saying in India and Pakistan, that they were making bank on trade at the border. So they had a vested interest in diffusing the violence. But in this particular case, this is practically hysterical. These folks are hysteric, and rightly so. So that leads me to think this war is not going to go on for 4 months, that this war could be ending fairly soon because of the amount of desperation I felt in leadership. And people are fleeing to the border. But how I felt as leadership was close to hysteric. I mean, I don't even know how I'm gonna get my business back. I'm another victim of Putin, and now they're talking about they sanction me. I'm another victim of Putin. My entire everything doing I wanna rip my hair out, right? That's how it feels. All right, any questions about that before we move on to the next remote? I can't imagine how he would be able to keep the war going until winter when you have that kind of opposition from the people with money. Last thing I want to say about this, and I didn't write it down, has to do with the future of the Russian Orthodox Church. This was a really sad and creepy remote for me to have to do because the more I go into the Russian Orthodox Church, the more I start to see the relationship between the Russian Orthodox Church and the criminal element. So that criminals who were doing bad things, stealing, robbing, raping, etc., thought that they could avoid going to hell if they gave a portion of the things they stole to the church. So I feel bad that I robbed you. I robbed you, I raped your wife, I took your car, I stole your icons. I'm gonna go to hell. I apologize. I went to my church. I gave them a few $100s from the things I stole. They've assured me that my sins have been forgiven, so I went back and did more crime. So there's this dynamic starting to happen that we're seeing where the money, a lot of the money from the Russian oligarchy is from the booty. So do they want the crime to stop? Of course not. They're making bank. Yes, my son, it's very bad. We forgive you. Don't do it again until next week when you come in. So there becomes this relationship, and it's linked back to the heads of the Russian church and the infrastructure of these violent Russian crime syndicates that were making money propping it up. So they had no interest in saying no to what was happening in Ukraine. How it ends is that the criminal element inside the Russian Orthodox Church, which good people within the Russian Orthodox Church have had problems with, will be removed. They'll be removed because they're going to be charged with crimes, etc. The goal of future leadership of the Russian Orthodox Church, according to future leadership, they say their goal is that they want to be just a church. They don't want to be part of a crime syndication making 10% off the booty in exchange for, basically paying for forgiveness. But that's basically what it was. And that was the element of the church. But the church, as it is now, will collapse along with the criminals as there's an account and reckoning of everything that went on. And the goal of the church going forward will be to just be a church. Yeah. Anybody want to talk about that? All right. So the next, it does sound like the Catholic Church. I don't know. All right. The next thing people have asked me if I would please go in and do a remote on the future of DeSantis. What future? um, the Russian Orthodox Church. The head of the Russian Orthodox Church appears to be basically a corrupt criminal that was on the take. And so he was in on it, basically. And they were profiting. And that will come to an end. And it's very embarrassing. There are people, young people, that entered monastic life in the church because they want to give their life to God. So when they see this guy getting drug out and going to prison and all the corruption, that's the guy sitting there saying, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you that the bad guy is gone and the corruption is bad." That's the person that's done the reporting, and maybe they've silently prayed. So that process is happening right now in the Russian Orthodox Church. But it's all going to blow up in their face very soon. Now I want to talk about DeSantis's future. We had talked about when we followed the energy of DeSantis that he would most likely have his entire career go up in smoke due to Well, he was going to be drowned in legal issues. Anybody surprised by recent developments with DeSantis being under criminal investigation out of Texas for kidnapping? Anybody surprised that his career is going down? Yes, he's going to get charged. No, he has no future. His career's over. It's not one count of kidnapping. To be clear, we're talking about multiple counts of kidnapping. If you're going to say that the law is the same for everybody, then you have to charge him. Now, there's another criminal investigation that we have talked about when we went into the energy regarding money that was being collected from the wealthy in areas of Palm Beach. I said Palm Springs accidentally on Thursday. I guess I was tired. Palm Beach and the island off Palm Beach. And so there are quite a few criminal investigations into money laundering, corruption that are going to come out. And of course, the GOP, but also the Democrats have gotten in trouble for some of that illicit behavior. So that's going to be coming out as well. So no, he kidnapped, what is it called? Valkyrie? Through Valkyrie? It's basically, there are different ways you can move a person across state lines. It actually happened to me once. Somebody committed fraud. They conned me into going to another state, and there isn't a lot you can do about it if you're an intelligent, educated adult American, right? They think, well, this can only happen to somebody who's, whatever. But anytime somebody cons you into going from one place to another, that can be a form of fraud. But in this particular case, what makes it actual human trafficking and kidnapping is because they physically put them in a situation where they were dragged from one point to another. And at that point, it's human trafficking is when you use them for money, but it's actually, but it's kidnapping. Well, they might not have known about it, but the pamphlets, deceptive pamphlets, deceptive luring. Oh, Glenn Kushner covered it. He's pretty good. The brochures are evidence, yeah. I think that he's going to get charged. I think it's going to be taken very seriously. I think the Justice Department is going to take it up, and I've never felt that Ron DeSantis had any kind of a future. He doesn't have a future. All right. Next remote view, the Trump raid, evidence of further crimes. Yes, further crimes and new accomplices will be coming out. So that has to do with the fact that we know the raid happened. And we talked about the fact that when they went in to take the classified documents, they uncovered other crimes. We talked about that. We talked about the fact that blackmail schemes would be uncovered, more evidence of blackmail schemes. Yeah, so now Michael Cohen is coming out and saying, yes, they did uncover crimes. But the main crime I was focusing on was the blackmail and evidence of blackmail schemes that he and his friends had been involved in. There's a lot more evidence about the blackmail schemes in New York, and a little bit in New Jersey, but quite a bit in New York. And so some of that will probably come out. When I had done my remote the first time on Michael Cohen a few years ago, before Michael Cohen had flipped, we did a remote and we saw how the feds had made him walk out, and that there was a woman and they asked about a key, and then he had to give the key. After Michael Cohen was released on house arrest, he had a key. He took the key. He went down to a special storage unit in his home, and that was where he kept the boxes. So in the remote, a woman had come. She had a key. people had to sit in an area and go, that area we now know was probably Michael Cohen's storage unit where he had kept the stuff. But one of the things that was uncovered when we got into the remote was the blackmail material. Does everybody remember that from a few years ago? Yeah. So when he talked about the key and he talked about going back to the storage unit, that was kind of a confirmation of the remote. She was probably the woman I saw. She might have been his condo manager or something, somebody who oversaw the building. Okay, so I think that's everything I have for the remote views. And I guess we'll just do the empath prayer and do a community read if people want, unless people have something else they need to tell me or need to announce. The blackmail schemes are pretty serious because it's a gentleman's agreement. It's a gentleman's agreement. It's really big with Roger Stone. When people get upset, oh, we found you with photographs of you with so-and-so. Roger Stone's the guy that'll pat you on the shoulder and say, hey, we've got dirt. All of us has dirt on each other. You've got film on me. I got film on you. Don't feel bad because we're blackmailing you, but you're blackmailing us. And it's a gentleman's agreement. Let's go ahead. We'll do the empath's prayer. I think we're ready to rock and roll here. What deck should we use? Should we use the Morgan Greer or the Medieval? How would you like to receive your reading today? It's up to you. Morgan Greer? Okay, there it is. All right, I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together, collectively as a community, we say, Amen. Do you want to use the one world instead? I think we should kind of help promote this because we want to promote people in our community. So I think we're going to use the One World Tarot today, put together by the beautiful Dr. Lena. Let's see how let's break these puppies in. What do you say? Break these puppies in. Let's see if the magic is with them. What do you say? Does that work for you? Oh my God, they're beautiful. You guys are going to love them. You guys are going to love them. All right, let's do it. Isn't that great? We're using Lena and Sienna Rose's cards today. Isn't that powerful? Like our own community? I love it. What does Spirit want us to know today? What does Spirit need us to know today? These feel beautiful. Oh, she hasn't premiered it yet? Well, I'm premiering it early, which is probably getting me in trouble, but I can't be here on the 3rd. All right, where you are at right now. Oh, contemplating new partnerships and new relationships. Also, you could be thinking about doing a little bit of travel. We got that nice 2 of Wands coming in. 2 of Wands is also my West Coast. If you look, he's always looking to the west. He's got a globe waiting for his ship to come in. Feeling a little restricted and defensive, perhaps. This is a hard card to look at now when you think about the economy, but a lot of people are just feeling really like they're just having to defend themselves, difficult times. You know, it's like anywhere but here with these types of cards. Karma, defending yourself against multiple attacks. looking, waiting for your ship to come in, looking possibly over the seas elsewhere. A lot of people are leaving the United States because it's just too violent. Where we're at right now, issues of poverty, concerns about poverty. The crossing card for us, Four of Pentacles, frugality and watching our coins. What is above us? Three of Pentacles, you're going to be building things for yourselves financially. Even though you're being frugal and even though there are concerns about your economic future, be smart with the money you have and begin to build and invest wisely. What you're sitting in, Queen of Wands, very powerful energy here. These are people with strong convictions and passion. What you're coming out of, Magician, you're starting to realize what you want to do with your life. And you have the power to manifest it. You're going on a journey. You could be starting a whole new career. Look at that, Fool. Starts a journey. Also with that Two of Wands there, I'm becoming nomadic, man. I love to travel. Where you're at right now, Six of Swords. Smoother waters lay ahead for you, my beloveds. Well, you could invest in tarot cards. That's an investment if you're a reader. So it's putting your money towards things that are going to make you money. The other in relationship with you, a judgment is coming. Hopes and fears, the Sun. And then the final outcome is the Moon. Let's do a clarification. Good stars, everybody. This was basically saying that this is a community of people that are dreamers. We have a lot of passion. We have, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna take on the world. There's a lot of magician energy here. People very excited about what they're going to do, what they're going to manifest for themselves. We're also dreamers, people that can dream big dreams for ourselves. However, the Queen of Cups is over the Moon card. Be careful about too much daydreaming, too much alcohol, sugar, or marijuana, which can cause spacey thoughts. The Moon, along with the Queen of Cups, can be a spacey kind of energy. I see people with passion. I see people with strong dreams, starting new projects in the coming year. The only negative I would say is work very hard to remain grounded and solid in what it is you want to do and work consistently over time on the goals you want. You'll be successful if you do. Nice star coming in the 7th position to clarify the smoother waters. Slow and steady wins the race for you. Take every day one day at a time. Healthy habits go a long way. You are more powerful than you realize. You already have the power to manifest what you want out of life. And if you're feeling attacked or constricted in your current living situation, then maybe it is time to go somewhere where you can be treated better around people who know how to show you the respect you deserve. So if you're in a relationship or in an environment where people are treating you in ways that don't work for you, you have every right to pack up and leave. And that is what a lot of you seem to be doing, whether it's in a work situation or relationships with family members. Those are cards that somebody is dreaming about moving on. The only warning here is make sure you don't dream your life away. Make sure that you are following through on your dreams with actions. And that is the community reading. Did everybody enjoy that? Those are some lovely cards. I enjoyed that. All right. As soon as I get the order, I will blitz away. And I'll be here for, I don't know, 30 minutes, 40 minutes doing blitzes. If anybody has any question. And again, to remind people, the fundraiser is United Nations Hunger Relief Program. Go cross my legs. I got the order to blitz. Oh, why? Is there a rumor that Xi Jinping is under house arrest? Did that already happen? Gee, that was fast. No, I don't think so. But when you do remotes, there's a lot of old-time communists that do not trust Xi because they feel like he's too Western and that he has destroyed the economy of China by they never trusted the West and they don't trust capitalism. And they had a bad feeling about these changes in China, and now it is blowing up. So somebody needs to be blamed. So if you're an old-time communist who grew up with 1950s, 60s communist values, who are you going to blame? You're going to blame Xi. So when we talked about this a couple weeks ago, we think of Xi as, oh my God, he's so dangerous. But when you put yourself in the shoes of the old-time communist Chinese, which we've done, they don't trust Xi because they think he's too American. All these economic problems we're having, it's all Xi's fault. He's the one that went to Iowa and got that degree. He's the one that was dating all those blonde girls, right? So he's the other. He has become enamored with the enemy. He's CIA, right? They think Xi is CIA. So it doesn't surprise me at all that something like that would happen with Xi. And you have to also realize that Xi's father was arrested and did time in prison. He was considered a traitor of the communist. Xi himself might have, I believe, done some time in prison or hard labor. So people talk about Xi as if he has not had a rough road or as if his own family hasn't been suspect. So there is a weird CIA connection. Maybe he was, to some extent, groomed by the U.S. But let's take a look at the future of Xi. You can love people from a distance. It's very painful when people are self-destructive and then you try to help them and then they start destroying you. It's just nothing. You have no choice. You have to not be around people like that. Then that's the choice. All right, Xi's future. He's in trouble because of the people are blaming him because it's economically disastrous right now in China. I can show you. First off, Xi juggling coins, the pickpocket, right? The con artist. How the Chinese are dealing? Extreme poverty. The majority, 70% of the Chinese are living below the poverty line. So do you think with a 70% below the poverty line, you're going to be popular right now with the economic changes? Probably not. The hopes and fears, the strength of China. And then the final outcome, scholars and intellectuals and people that know how to handle money need to come in and fix the situation because it's dire. It had to do with they're blaming the fact that they opened up certain business and gave certain power to Western business, greed and corruption. He played with the other. He got in bed with the other. They want to remove Xi because removal. Knight of Pentacles, it's over, poverty. The hopes and fears, a new beginning for China. They're dreaming, the dreamer, scholars. I don't know. They're talking like when everybody was equal, when everybody wore the same clothes, when everybody had the same bowl of rice, when that's kind of the old school communists. Everybody had the same length of hair. Nobody's hair was longer. That would be vain, right? Same haircut. Same glasses, no fashion statement. You wear your glasses to see, they're not a fashion statement, right? So everything was very bare bones and everyone should get the same bowl of rice. And that extreme austere version of communism is starting to come up again, it looks like. And so, yeah, she could very likely be removed with those types of cards. The news is saying in the media buzz that Ping is under house arrest, no verification. Yeah, he's so, you know, don't you think it was crazy though when we did the remote? Let's talk. Can we talk about the remote from 2 weeks ago when the Chinese were telling us about how they didn't trust Xi from their perspective and the whole CIA thing? That came up 2 weeks ago. So if that came up 2 weeks ago in the remotes, then don't you think that may be why now he's in this situation? Because if we're getting it 2 weeks before, it means somebody was thinking it, right? I mean, you can't get it in. Yeah, he's being removed. Oh, well, so much for Xi. He went to Lincoln High School in Tacoma. Oh, cool for him. Yeah, he went to college in Iowa. Okay. Oh, wow. I wonder if he and I were in school together because I was in school with a bunch of crazy Chinese immigrants. They all came in. I probably met him. And I went to University of Washington with a bunch. I was in the China. I was in the communist. I don't know why they stuck me in the communist house. I was pre-med. I think they thought I was a foreigner because I wound up in a foreign dorm. It was very strange on 47th, a couple blocks from campus, and literally everybody was from either China, Laos, or Vietnam, and they were all medical students. And I was like the only white girl. It's like, is this where I'm supposed to be? They're like, where are you from? They're like, we're like, oh, I'm from Singapore. I'm from Cambodia. Where are you from? Portland. It's like, am I supposed to be here? Is this the yeah. Well, the relationship between Putin and she said no because nobody wants to fund the war. So let's take a look at the future of Perla. I guess she was the woman that enticed people. Let's take a look. Okay, where is the Perla lady? Yeah, and I think I met Putin when he was a delegate before he became famous. I met him in Jerusalem. Nobody important. You just meet people on the streets of Jerusalem, a bunch of Russians walking by a delegation, 1987 or whatever. Cute guys. Yeah. I one time Natan Sharansky walked or was walking by with a group of his friends. I was having coffee. The refusenik, he's very famous. And I went like that when I saw him. And he looked back at me and went, I was like, because I'd been really active in trying to get him released. So yeah, Jerusalem's a crazy town. You like bump into everybody. She's already talking with the feds. That woman that was part of it, she's already cooperating with the feds. She was enticed to do it by DeSantis and the other guy. Want to see DeSantis's future? He was betrayed by somebody who's cooperating with the feds. It's pretty easy to read. Hopes and fears. Come and talk to us. Final outcome. Corruption. Let's see what happens to the corruption. What a sad ending for Mr. DeSantis. Oh, there's more coming out. He's also getting allegations of harassment and mistreatment. There are allegations of sexual harassment in DeSantis's office also. Why not? He's going to have to defend himself. He was betrayed by multiple evidence. There's also something about allegations of women in the workplace. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future's not ours to see. Que sera, sera. Oh, I think Gates isn't getting charged because I don't know. I think it was, yeah. A 17-year-old how was he responsible? I think he should be charged. I think there's enough evidence. I just think that men don't care about the safety of, evidently, male police officers. They don't seem to take it as seriously as they should. All right, let's find something else to take a look at here. Iran mullah's future. Joel Tilson has a question about the future of Iran. Is anybody eating anything interesting? More interesting than my green smoothie? I can't eat it, so at least describe it to me. Anybody having pancakes? That's my favorite. Love me some pancakes. Gotta come up with like a vegan high protein that doesn't taste like grit from the protein powder. Gluten-free. Oh, there's money missing. The mullahs, there's a theft issue. The treasury's in trouble. It's the first hit I'm giving you. The treasury is under investigation under the mullahs for corruption. It's the first thing. They're very, very strong. They're very, very situated. When you want power, you want to consolidate your power. And that's basically what they did. And so they've kind of bled into every agency in Tehran since they've been in Iran since they've been in power. And they're talking about the fact here that that if you remove them, it's going to be a lot of work because they have really strengthened themselves. You can see strong position with Ace of Swords for the mullahs. So they're everywhere. They're in the treasury. They're in the marriages. They're in the deaths. They're in the funerals. They're in the taxation. They're in every aspect of life in Iran. The other in relationship is confused. It's like a weed that it's everywhere, and there's just this confusion. How do we get rid of it? There's this talking about this new uprising in spring of 2022. So there's going to be a new spring. What they call the Arab Spring. So now it's the Persian Spring. There's another one coming in April. The hopes and fears. They want the world to support their revolution. The fear is that because the mullahs are having strong oil contracts and people are making business, it's only strengthening the infrastructure of the mullahs longer. The fear is that the world is in bed with the mullahs. And final outcome is that strong people, strong, brave people doing the work will get organized to create. There's like a government that they're creating ready to go, that they want to go in and take them out. But expect this revolution. If they're going to do it, they're going to do it quickly. It's going to be organized. Will be approximately between now and April of 2022, we're going to see revolution. But it's very difficult because you can see how deeply they're entrenched into the society. This is new leadership. This is hard work around October, but you can see the revolution, the spring riots happening again here. And that's come up twice now when we've gone into the Akashic field. So whatever they're preparing now, if you're going to go in and overthrow an entire country's infrastructure, you'd better have a solid infrastructure behind you. And that's probably what they're going to be doing between now and spring of 2022, is really getting the movement organized. And they're also looking for allies outside of Iran because of that world card there. And the fact that there was that lover card indicates that Iran, doing business with Iran, is strengthening the mullahs. And that's the frustration, because there's this dependency on oil, et cetera, et cetera. So that's basically what they were saying. Yeah, eventually they will weaken and be removed. Yeah. All right, let's see. Anybody else have a question? I think we'll do one more and then we'll close. Any burning questions? Any questions about the weather, the royals, let's see, what else can we think of? Any more? Well, we did Trump already. I can't think of anything else. We could do some more on the weather. Oh, are there going to be more indictments next week? I would think so. Yeah. Is William cheating on Kate? I don't know. Don't you think it's kind of a private thing? I like Kate. I like the way she talks to us. Did you all see that film footage of them checking in on Balmoral, the renovations after the Queen died? I thought that was so funny because William had just told us that he couldn't, I can't. Prince William would rather have his teeth, he would rather have a root canal than therapy, another therapy session. And so 24 hours after he said that, he goes to Balmoral with his wife, and she's like, okay, we need to sit and talk about our emotions and how we're feeling since the Queen died. So all the staff at Balmoral, let's sit and talk about our emotions. She's like, how are you doing emotionally? And I was looking at William, and he goes, and then they're like, would you like to sit? Yes, sit and talk. And immediately, like without missing a beat, William says, but on the more practical, how's the plumbing? And I couldn't help but like laugh. Like, I just love HCRV. I love heart-centered remote viewing, because when we did the Connect and he had said that about therapy, and then within 24 freaking hours, she wanted to have like a counseling with the staff and talk about and he was like, no emotion. No. The plumbing. Let's talk about the plumbing. I was like, oh my God, you just told us this. So I thought that was very funny. I'll take, you want a root canal? I'll take a root canal. But I did have a remote on the royals. I do have a remote about the royal family. I completely forgot about this. You know how we have this attack that's happening from, what's his name? The guy that owns the Daily Mail. He's getting another divorce, his 6th divorce or something, because I think he like hates everybody and hits everybody, and he's such a toxic person that the guy that owns Sky News, Murdoch. Okay, so Murdoch is known to be one of the most angry. He's just a black lizard that hates the world, right? That's Murdoch, right? So it's not random that they're trying to tear the Fabulous Four or the Fabulous Five apart. It's really because all 5 of them are progressive liberal environmentalist. And so by tearing them apart, he's basically dismantled their agendas. And their agenda, Kate, Kate, mental health therapy, early intervention, which is the same as Harry. So they're on the same page. And then what's also weird is that Charles started Winestone. Is that the name of his company? He became a self-made millionaire. He started an organic foods company. And then Meghan started an organic foods company. So the truth is, all of them are on the same page. They're powerful activists, and so they're a threat. And if they come together and don't allow themselves to be manipulated, they are going to really modernize the monarchy and be really productive in terms of hailing in the new green economy. And so that's the threat to Murdoch. The threat to Murdoch is that they're all really great people, but if he can get them to hate each other over BS, then they won't get organized and move everybody to the new green economy, and that's why he was threatened by this. It's more than just black and white. It's also about the economics of what they all equally are trying to do. That is a threat to the powers that be. So that's the deeper issue that we have to think about and meditate on when we see all of this infighting. What would happen if they were all working together? And how would that be a threat to certain people who make their money certain ways, right? So we have to think smarter, right? Okay, one more quickie. Yeah, King Charles is an organic gardener. What's the name? Is it Winestone? Is that the name of his company? It almost went belly up, and then one of his friends bailed it out, and then they hunkered down, and it took a couple years before they made a profit. And now the King's brand of organic sausage, he does great, and the money goes to charity, etc. And now Meghan can't do dairy. I mean, I've actually talked to her about it. She has a little bit of a cheese thing, right? So, but also it's better for the environment. You can, you do Oatly or stuff. So they're getting involved in the same thing. So isn't it cool? So what do you got to do? So if you are making your money off of oil and and meat and stuff like that and war, you got to stop this. This is dangerous. This is and they're all talking about, yeah, and we're gonna do all these great things for the oh no. We gotta tear this family apart because they're dangerous together. Yeah. No, they're all actually really great people. Yes, King Charles is spoiled, but we all would be. I also did a remote. When he got all upset about the pens, he had not slept in probably 3 days. He literally couldn't go on anymore. His wife had died, or his mother had died. He was in complete shock. He had all these responsibilities. I mean, that guy literally, he collapsed in that chair. So even though it came across and people made fun, oh, he's so spoiled, he's so spoiled. But when you really put yourself in his shoes, what kind of mental state were you in when your mother died? And you've got all these cameras in your face, and you're being told you got to work, do this, and you just saw your mother take her last breath. You're in complete mental shock. Remember when we did the remote, when I was the assistant in the room, when we had to clarify that she had passed, that when I was in his energy, he was frozen. He couldn't move from the realization, oh my God, this has happened, right? Even though you prepare for it, you're never prepared for it. So that's also compassion. How would you be? Would you be in perfect, shiny condition if you were in complete shock? Your mother's dead and everyone's dragging you around with photographs and you're having to do all of this and you literally haven't slept and you're literally collapsing. I need some freaking help. I can't function. I literally cannot function. Stiff upper lip is all well and good, but there's only so much you can put up with. So, yeah. So Camille came and helped him and signed it. But so we always want to just put ourselves, be compassionate of everybody with what they're going through. It's stress that you and I will never understand. I mean, it was horrific when my mother passed away. I can't imagine after my mother passed away, having to run in front, talk to 1 billion people and then not be able to sleep for 3 days. All right, love and light to you all. Thank you, everybody. Waitrose is the name of, if you want to support his company. It goes to he also gives a lot of his stuff to the homeless, like the shelters. It's all the shelters in Britain. I guess they get a bunch of Waitrose products, which is kind of cool. I'm glad. Anne's very strong. Yeah, she did a good job. All right, take care, everyone. You guys are awesome. Be well.